Cynthia Carter-Perelliot with you for the final moments of day one of the 2020 C-TAC Virtual Summit on Advanced Illness Care. And what a day it has been. The option to choose which breakout session seemed most important may have left you with a moment of frustration, wanting to be in 2 or 3 places at once. Please remember that this entire summit will be available online for the next 6 months. Your registration access code is all you'll need to re-engage with any part of the summit. Come back and experience a session you missed. Come back and refresh your understanding of the incredible presentations by Dr. Ira Byock, Wes Moore, or any of the speakers over the next 2 days. This really is one of the benefits of our virtual environment. Once it's over, it really isn't over. I know many of us have had or are having the experience of caring for loved ones as they experience advanced illness. Disease states do not play favorites. We've learned all too well from the COVID-19 pandemic that young and old can be seriously affected, and providing loving care for them can become a consuming work of love. Annette Frankie is a native of Puerto Rico who has had a successful business career capped off by her assuming the position of volunteer chair of the board for AARP. Annette is also a caregiver, as you will learn in her comments. Please welcome Annette Frankie.
Hello, I am Annette Frankie, board chair for AARP. I welcome this opportunity to speak to you about our shared vision to create greater equity and to give you a sense of how AARP is acting on that vision. In my term as AARP's board chair, I will be emphasizing equity in healthcare. Equity is not just a priority for me as AARP's first Hispanic board chair. It is an unwavering commitment for all of AARP. I'm very pleased to see how C-TAC is carrying out its own commitment to equity and to racial and ethnic diversity, not only through the summit, but also in recruiting new members of the board and the staff, and in numerous other ways. The pandemic has brought into sharper focus huge and destructive disparities that have long existed and so often have been ignored. We need to confront these disparities in the terrible context of COVID-19, and we need to sustain our collective attention to these inequities after the pandemic is behind us. At AARP, we are attacking these disparities on many fronts. We are urging more testing and contact tracing, especially in communities that have been most vulnerable to COVID-19. We are calling for the compilation and release of more demographic data to provide a clearer, more complete picture of disparities. We have held weekly teletown halls, drawing an average of 80 to 100,000 people, where experts discuss ideas and solutions for addressing health disparities. We've been fighting on the federal and state levels for families and those in nursing homes and assisted living facilities. We've brought well over 600,000 advocates to this fight for greater transparency, virtual visitation, more PPE, and more testing. Our work for residents of long-term care facilities and their families will go on long after the pandemic ends. That is true as well for our championing of telehealth, where we have successfully advocated to ease restrictions on its use. Telehealth will be a vital option far beyond this crisis, and we will continue to oppose barriers to its use. The importance of telehealth is a key reason AARP advocates for the extension of broadband throughout every part of our country. There are so many issues where we can come together to tackle inequities and to support both person and family-centered solutions. And caregiving is a prime example. For so many caregivers, a challenging situation has become even more difficult this year. In many minority communities, a disproportionate number of caregivers are essential workers, working in hospitals, long-term care facilities, supermarkets, warehouses, and elsewhere, working on the front lines to bring home a paycheck, even as they fear bringing home the virus. They have reason to be concerned. Multiple analysis of available federal, state, and local data show that minority communities are experiencing a disproportionate burden of COVID-19 cases and deaths. Caregiving is such a profound and beautiful human connection, But we also know that this act of love and devotion can be very challenging, even when there is no national crisis. I have seen that firsthand in my own family as we care for my mom, who has had dementia for a long period of time and yet is otherwise in perfect health. And I realize that for many families where there is another dimension of difficulty, financial struggle, the burden can seem overwhelming. I'm proud of the work we have done at AARP in helping to bring caregiving out of the shadows and to elevate caregiving in the public policy arena. A major part of that work is easing the financial burden on caregivers. That means advocating for caregiving tax credits at the federal and state levels. We'll keep providing vital information to caregivers, connecting them to sources of assistance and connecting them to each other. We'll be working, as we have for so many years, on long-term care, seeking to expand the options to take care of loved ones at home. Let's commit to making sure that all people have the opportunity to live a life of dignity, meaning, and purpose. Then we need to sustain that commitment. Let's carry out specific approaches, proactive and interventionist, which can improve healthcare, including advanced care and palliative care. Let's understand and take down the barriers to care, from the lack of information to the lack of social networks to the lack of broadband to the lack of financial resources. Let's find ways to lessen the burden on family caregivers. The answers are not mysterious, from tax credits to respite care to support groups to making sure caregivers have the information they need. As we adopt person and family-centered care, let's respect the influence of culture and tailor assistance accordingly. Let's insist on a multi-sector approach because transforming healthcare cannot be done by the health sector alone. Finally, let's look through the lens of equity. When it comes to advanced care, as with so much else, disparities so often go unrecognized. This can be especially true with respect to advanced illness. The old saying goes, hindsight is 20/20. How about a new saying reflecting this very tough year? Seeing health inequities in plain sight is 2020. Thank you so much for listening, and let's come together for a more equitable future.
The Home Centered Care Institute is focused on expanding home-based primary care nationally to ensure that the most medically complex patients who are often homebound have access to medical care in the home.
HCCI achieves this goal through 4 main pillars: education, consulting, research, and advocacy. HCCI offers a variety of educational opportunities, including instructor-led workshops, hands-on training in procedures commonly done in the home, online courses, webinars and virtual workshops, and individualized practicum experiences. In addition, HCCI also offers customized education. HCCI provides expertise and guidance to new and expanding home-based care programs and offers customized solutions to optimize the efficiency and effectiveness of practices. HCCI is an authoritative source of new information, data, and insights to establish and validate clinical and operational best practices, quality benchmarks, and clear evidence of the effectiveness and value of home-based care. HCCI is helping to move home-centered care into the healthcare mainstream by supporting payment reform and increasing awareness among the public, providers, and payers and policymakers. Overall, the Home Centered Care Institute exists for one primary reason: to help ensure that those patients who need house calls get them. Because the future of healthcare is in the home.
I mentioned at the beginning of today's session that I have the pleasure of working with the Alameda County Care Alliance Collaborative. Our work begins with the churches, and our churches have band together providing support, information, and care for those who are aging and those who are dealing with advanced illness along with their caregivers. We recently completed a video designed to inform, to encourage, and particularly targeted for people of color. It's my sheer pleasure to share it with you, and with the hopes that you will find it to be not only informative and encouraging, but also engaging, so that you too might consider this in your work as you outreach to various communities of color.
Floyd Carter, wonderful man, chairman of the Deacon Board, loving father of 5, loving husband. You know, my dad was just an incredible human being. When the doctors actually diagnosed my dad to have 8 months to live, it was, frightening, to say the least. We learned about this palliative care notion when they gave my dad this negative diagnosis. Patients, families, caregivers, and even healthcare providers are often confused about the term palliative care, what it means, and what it includes. In the dictionary, the word palliate, which is part of the word palliative, means to make a disease or its symptoms less severe or unpleasant without removing the cause of the disease itself.
This definition means that palliative care treats symptoms like pain, nausea, anxiety, and depression that are commonly experienced by people with serious illness and that get in the way of a person feeling their best.
And at the same time, while feeling comfortable to let them know that they have value, that their life means something, rather leave them to vegetate and suffer. It's just to take away the pain, to take away that edge.
We work in collaboration with the patient's team of clinicians or care providers while they're undergoing treatment for a serious illness to make sure that we attend to their whole personhood. So addressing things that may come up that can be distressing, physical distress, emotional distress, spiritual distress. And so our team provides that care and support to patients living with serious illness.
As Dr. Wynn points out, palliative care happens at the same time as treatment a patient may be getting for their serious illness. Palliative care and serious illness care work together, and together they may even be more effective. A person receiving palliative care still sees their regular doctor and works with a team of palliative care providers at the same time.
People often think that by agreeing to palliative care, that they have to give up treatment for their condition. This is not true. In fact, palliative care may help treatment to be more effective and may help people to live longer lives.
So giving up would mean minimal to no effort, all hope lost. So any effort put forward, with faith and hope that things can get better or even will, is the total opposite of giving up.
More and more research shows that people who receive palliative care, in addition to treatment for their condition, live longer lives on average and report better quality of life than people who get treatment alone without palliative care.
In addition to improving quality of life and helping to improve bothersome symptoms, palliative care focuses on the whole person, promoting emotional health and spiritual health along with physical health, and helping patients and their caregivers to truly understand their choices for medical treatment.
All the things that I've learned through my training, through the church, now I wish I had known that then.
One of the key things that help people get the care that really aligns with their values, their life goals, their medical preferences, is to actually have all of the medical information they need to make those decisions.
Through this process, you are not alone, and we hear you.
Another common mistake people make is assuming that palliative care is just for people with cancer.
Although palliative care is very helpful for patients with cancer, it is also a helpful resource for anyone living with serious illness. For example, heart failure, dementia, Parkinson's disease, and many other treatments. Medicare, Medi-Cal, Medicaid, and private insurance policies may cover palliative care. Veterans may be eligible for palliative care through the Department of Veterans Affairs.
People often think that palliative care is for people with very advanced illness who are near the end of life. Although this can be true, palliative care can also be helpful right from the point of diagnosis.
What we do is actually to try to meet our patients hopefully at the time that they're diagnosed with a serious illness, so that we're able to journey with them, to accompany them, to support them, to provide care alongside what can often even be curative treatment, so that they live as well as they can for as long as they can.
Every day that God gives us is a special day. Take advantage of it, live your best life, and recognize that it's not over until it's over.
Now you've heard the myths. Here are the facts. Palliative care is provided by a team of nurses, social workers, doctors, and chaplains, and is usually covered by most types of health insurance. Palliative care is available to anyone with bothersome symptoms from any serious illness right from the time of diagnosis.
Palliative care focuses on helping persons needing care with symptoms like pain and nausea, and providing information and support to help them and their families to fully understand their medical choices. Palliative care can be provided in hospitals, nursing homes, outpatient clinics, and also in the home setting. But more importantly, receiving palliative care can help persons needing care to live longer, healthier, and happier lives.
For these reasons, many people with serious illness and their families choose palliative care.
Making sure that families understand that it's not just about end of life, meaning you get on palliative care and that's it. No, this is just a circle of support for you so that you can better manage your health.
We are in this together, and we're going to stand by you, and we're going to make sure that you are comfortable, that your life is manageable, that you live a quality life, even in the midst of all of this.
Hi C-TAC, my name is Brad Wolf. I am the founder of Reimagine. We are a nonprofit organization aimed at helping people face death to embrace life, this one wild and precious existence, through creativity and conversation and large-scale festivals and thousands of events across this country. Today I have something very personal and meaningful to share with you. My dear friends, Reimagine volunteer Grace Livingston, and Reimagine collaborator and artist Day Shilkret, starring in a video that you need to see.
Like, I see wonder as a skill. Approaching death with wonder is a beautiful approach.
My mom died of gallbladder cancer. She's the first person in my close family to die, and she was the first person who I've been in a room with when they were dying. She raised me as a single mom, and I was her only child, so she was my whole family, my whole sort of nuclear family.
Yeah.
And difficult doesn't begin to get at it, but her death was also the beginning of my awakening.
Her last words to me and to everyone else in her consciousness at that moment were, "This is like birth."
It's difficult, but it also feels like the biggest gift in the world in some ways.
What is your fear of death?
My fear with death is that I will forget that there's nothing to be afraid of. That as the closer I get, I will forget that I won't be able to call back to the memory of my mom's death to do that remembering. I really want to be very present for my death, because this really is like one of the most, probably the most magical, mystical, wild experiences that we get to have as humans.
1 month ago to the day, I was diagnosed with stage 3 ovarian cancer. And 3 days later, I had surgery, a total hysterectomy. Happy 30th birthday to me. And while they got a lot of the cancer out, wasn't all of it.
To witness my mom's death, it just felt like this body was no longer where she needed to be. Even though I'm scared, everything is okay with life, with death, with her, with myself. She was an extraordinary teacher.
Yeah. And what a gift she gave you.
To just have this role model for deciding on how I want to approach treatment for cancer and how I want to think about my own end-of-life planning. A very different role model than the rest of our culture teaches us, which is like the battle and fight.
Yeah, the fight.
Stick with it and do the most treatment and get the most interventions.
Yeah, which is how, is really how my dad died.
Mm-hmm.
Most of us are kind of like swimming without any kind of guidance or ritual or anything passed down. It's kind of frightening. The new tradition that I'm doing right now for life transitions like death are these morning altars or these earth altars. And sometimes I gather the plants and the material that they loved, like the flowers that they loved or the smells that they loved of a certain plant, both remembering their lives through the things that they loved and also creating something both for them and for me. And at the beginning, I'd had no preconceived idea of what I was doing. I just was like trying to order something that was disordered in my life. Death and grief feels very chaotic as, just like you feel like you're out of control. So like actually like taking flower petals and ordering them felt super cathartic for me. It was like, okay, this is the one thing I can do that feels like I'm in control. What happened was I would be left with beauty.
Yeah.
And that just was remarkable that like grief could become beauty.
This year's Reimagine Festival, we made an altar together and patterned it sort of around things that were meaningful from my life and my mother's life, and it was really, really beautiful.
The etymology of the word ritual means rhythm. So when we're in this like rhythmic ritual and we just do something repetitively, like put down petals, then like these other parts of us just can come forward. And that's what happened. I felt like we were really connecting because we were just in this shared creation together. I think it's so important for us to see the absence of things, and not to cover them up so quickly, but to actually proceed in our lives with the whole.
I feel here, in this space, I feel very present. And that's really the most important thing for my life right now, is to be able to be where I am and be there joyfully. And that's how I feel like I'm showing up right now.
And what beauty you're making with your life. Yeah.
I thank you for being part of today's presentation of C-TAC's 2020 Virtual Summit on Advanced Illness Care. It is our hope that you'll take advantage of all the options available to you within the summit presentation. Although we can't be together in person and meet in the halls for conversation, grab a cup of coffee together, or just catch up on all those wonderful things that are happening in our lives and challenges also in our lives, your life and mine, we would know that staying in touch is so tremendously important. The sponsors and exhibitors who have come together to make this virtual experience a reality have much to share about what they're doing, advances in care, and information that might be very helpful to you in your career. I know I'll be intrigued to see and hear what lies ahead in the next 2 days, and I hope you'll join me with your virtual attendance.